Have you ever watched a spy movie and thought, could that really happen? Well, what if I told you one of the most unbelievable spy movie-like escapes happened in real life on a regular commercial flight? This is the incredible story of the young Hong Kong man who disguised himself as an elderly white man to board a flight to Canada. Toll went down on October 29, 2010. At Hong Kong International Airport, an elderly-looking man, hunched over slightly, shuffled his way onto Air Canada flight AT.chaneru, bound for Vancouver. He had on a flat cap, glasses, and a cozy cardigan. He looked like any other senior citizen heading off on a long journey. But there was a secret hidden in plain sight. This was no old man. Underneath a hyper-realistic silicone mask was a young Asian man in his early 20s. The mask, known as the elder model, was so convincing, complete with wrinkles and age spots, that he managed to fool everyone at the boarding gate. So, how did he pull it off? It wasn't just the mask. Here, the boarding pass of a 55-year-old American citizen. It's believed he performed a classic boarding pass swap. Someone else checked in, got the pass, and then handed it off to him before he went through the final check at the gate. The gate agent likely just glanced at the pass, saw an older man, and waved him through without a second thought. Here, even mimicked the slow, deliberate walk of an elderly person, committing fully to his role. He was on his way. The flight took off, and for the first few hours, everything was normal. The old man sat quietly in his seat. But at some point during the 12-hour journey across the Pacific, he got up and went to the lavatory. When he came out, the elderly passenger was gone. In his place was a young Asian man. Imagine the surprise of the flight attendants who saw this happen. They had noted the old man's surprisingly youthful-looking hands earlier, but this transformation was something else entirely. They knew something was very wrong. Quietly, so as not to cause a panic, the cabin crew alerted the pilots, who then radioed ahead to authorities on the ground in Vancouver. They informed the Canada Border Services Agency, the CBSA, that they had an unusual situation on their hands. An impossibly disguised passenger was about to land. When Flight AT.chaneru touched down at Vancouver International Airport, border agents were waiting. They intercepted the young man as he did a search of his carry-on luggage revealed the entire disguise kit, the silicone mask, the cap, the glasses, and the cardigan. The jig was up. Faced with the authorities, the young man didn't resist. Instead, he immediately made a claim for refugee protection in Canada. 2. This turned the case from a simple security breach into a complex immigration and human rights issue. Why would someone go to such extraordinary lengths? What was he fleeing from? The details of his refugee claim were kept private, as is standard procedure. But the very act of applying for asylum added a whole new layer of mystery to the story. He was detained but eventually released on bond under strict conditions, while his case was processed. The fallout from this incident was massive and reached all the way back to Hong Kong. The CBSA called it an unbelievable case of concealment, and it sent shockwaves through the global aviation security community. How could this happen in a post-9/11's world? Here, an investigation was immediately launched in Hong Kong, and it uncovered a smuggling ring operating right inside the airport. Several ground staff and airport workers were arrested. They were later convicted of conspiracy to help people illegally board flights using fake documents and boarding pass swaps. This wasn't a one-off event. It was an organized operation. 2. The case became a textbook example of the loopholes in airport security. It showed that even with all the high-tech scanners and procedures, the human element is often the weakest link. A quick glance, a moment of inattention, or in this case, a corrupt insider, can undermine the entire system. Airlines and airports worldwide had to review their identity verification protocols. Now, when you fly, ULL, Notice that gate agents are often required to check your photo ID against your boarding pass, right at the gate, not just at check-in. This incident is a big reason why. It also highlighted the sophistication and desperation involved in human smuggling. People are willing to pay huge sums of money and take incredible risks for a chance at a new life. The use of a Hollywood-level disguise showed just how far these networks will go to beat the system. It raises a lot of questions. We focus on the security breach, but we also have to consider the human story behind it. What drives a young person to take such a gamble? This story is a perfect storm of espionage, drama, and real-world consequences. It's about a daring escape, a massive security failure, and the complex, often hidden world of international migration. It proves that sometimes the most incredible stories aren't on the movie screen. They're happening right above our heads, at 30,000 feet. What do you think about this case? Was it a stroke of genius or a reckless act? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into incredible true stories. See you in the next one.